Today, we're talking about the pay predicament. We're talking about this wage compression. And I know we've all experienced this, right? We've all experienced having someone externally come into the job and we find out that they're making more, right? And we're like, what's up with that? What's going on? What's happening? How can that happen? They hire someone out on the street that's brand new, and you have all these tenured employees that's currently working there, and they come in making more. What is going on with that? How many have you all had that happen before? Have you had that happen before? I even trained someone, y'all. I've trained someone. Lady Low, hey. Listen, I've trained somebody that she was a temp. I'll never forget. She was a temp, trained her. She literally took over my little old job. Yes, Tivia said yes. Have you ever had someone come in from the outside, externally, come into your company, maybe even done the same work as you, sat right next to you in the same row in the cubicles, and they make more money than you? It's hard to work like that. It's super hard to work like that. They call that wage compression. You'll hear salary compression as well. There's also something called salary inversion, and that's basically when you make more than your manager or your leadership. But we're going to talk about wage compression and some of the ways we can combat that and how we can get ahead of that as well. I want to share with you. I want to ask you a question, though. Let me ask you this question. Tom says most definitely. I know we've all had that experience, but let me ask you this. Let's say you scroll in the job boards, right? Or you're looking for a job. I was going to say read the paper, looking for a job. See how old school I am? The classified. You scroll in the job board. Let's say you looking for your job, right? Your title. You know what it is you do. You're looking for your title. Let's say you come across 2 jobs. I want to see what y'all say. 2 jobs, right? They have your title. The first job says the pay for this is $150,000. And you read the job description and you can do some of the skills on there. It's a startup company, not well known. And the second job says is a more established company. It's a company we all know and love. And you can do most of what the job description says. You have most of the skills that align with the job description, but they don't show the pay. Which one are you going to spend more time on? Meaning, which one are you going to apply for? Which one is going to make you apply? Is it the one that says, we're going to pay you $150,000, we're a startup, and you look at the job description and you have some of the skills? Or are you going to go for the job description that's with a well-known company and you have most of the skills on the job description, but they didn't put the pay? Which one would you apply for? Robin, 1 or 2? What's up, lady? 1 or 2? The one that shows the job description, the pay, or the one that doesn't? Which one are you gonna, 1 or 2? Which one are you gonna spend time on? Researching and applying and potentially even accepting an interview? Tivia says 1. She's gonna go for the one that has the pay on it. What y'all say? What say you? Okay, Vitae Career says the startup, the first one. What's up, Clifford? Clifford said 1. Robin said 1. Okay. Thomas said, but it seems as though, my time has come. What's going on? Okay, Thomas says 2. I'm going for the established job. Vitae's Career says needs more research for sure. More for sure. Okay. Clifford says 1. Listen says 1. Elizabeth, go for the more money, and when they close down, go to the well-established one. Okay, so Elizabeth says 1, 2 to start, and then go with the other one. So it seems like most people would go for the one that shares the salary, right? So even though it's a startup, even though you have some of the skills and not all, you're going to spend most of the time on the job description, on the employer who posted the pay, right? So we're all pretty conditioned, right, to think about and to be mindful of what they pay. Now, I'm going to ask that same question at the end of this. I'm going to ask that same question at the end of this. So remember your answer. Remember your answer. Let me share my screen. I want to show something. If you're on IG and you want to see my screen, run over to YouTube. Let me know when you get here. Run over to YouTube. Let me show you something. Let's share something. So I want y'all to listen to this. Let me go ahead and share my screen. We're talking today about the pay predicament. We're talking about wage compression. And basically when someone comes in externally off the street, we don't know who they is. They coming in and they're working with tenured employees. They sit right next to you. Same row, same cubicle, right? But they make more than you. What do we do about that? Why does that happen? That's called wage compression. You'll also hear salary compression as well. All right, let's talk a little bit more about this. Here we go. Here we go. I always get confused with this. I do not know why. I do not know why. Take a listen.
According to the New York City Commission on Human Rights, the salary listings must have a maximum and a minimum and will be based on the good faith of the employer. In other words, what the employer honestly believes they would pay for someone hired for that position. Critics of the new law say it makes it harder for companies to offer competitive salaries or to diversify their workforces. But others say it's a win and that there's nothing wrong with a little pay transparency. Here's CNBC's Julia Borsky.
Do you like it? I love it.
Hannah Williams runs Salary Transparent Street. She asks random strangers a very personal question.
I'm in cybersecurity.
How much do you make?
Around 85K a year.
I'm in tech sales. How much do you make? I'm feeling like 70 and 80K.
I'm a hydraulic engineer.
And how much do you make?
Yearly, about 130,000.
I try to remove the taboo about talking about pay.
The content she shares has drawn more than 1.5 million followers across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
People are using the information that we share on our page really to advocate for themselves. They're realizing that they have to educate themselves on market research. They have to look up their salary and look up their job title and their salary and do the research to find out how much they should be making. So really, we're just putting that education and empowerment in their hands.
New pay transparency laws in New York City and California, and those already in effect in Colorado, will impact 1 in 6 U.S. workers, according to PayScale.
Now, this has already taken place. This is an older video, but I'm going to play just the first 10 seconds again, and I want to see if you notice something. I want you to listen very carefully to what he says now, and I want to see if you all notice what I noticed.
According to the New York City Commission on Human Rights, the salary listings must have a maximum and a minimum and will be based on the good faith of the employer. In other words, what the employer honestly believes they would pay for someone hired for that position.
Now, check this out. Before we get out of this screen, I want y'all to remember what he said now. And some of you, because you shared this with me, have seen this already, although it has now been a law that's passed. This happened back in November, I think November 1st to be exact, for New York. They have to post the salary range. Now, you may have seen that. Look at this third paragraph. Many businesses may post wide ranges in order to show they're open to applicants of varying years of experience. Others, worried, we're talking about employers, about losing out on talent, are widening their pay bands to make sure they can pay competitively in a tight hiring market. Better to err on the side of a broad range than create an artificially narrow range. This is what they're saying. Others say wide ranges, like those nearing the 6-figure mark, would only cause more confusion and friction. The spirit of the law is to create transparency, and any company having large salary ranges like that doesn't create any transparency. Now, y'all heard what he said, right? He said that employers can post a good faith salary range. Did y'all hear that? Hey, Susan. Hey, Derek. Hey, Teresa. Did y'all hear that? That's important, y'all. We're talking about wage compression. We're wondering why people coming in the job, they making more to us, and you've been there longer than they have. You've been doing the job longer than they have. Did you hear what he said? He said, employers, the law states that you have to post a salary range on the job description. Okay, that's fine. We'll post it. Have you seen some of those job descriptions that say 50,000 to 175,000? That's a wide range. Why are they doing that? Susan said, yes. Oh, that's a wide range, y'all. And we talked about this. We had a segment about this. We talked about this last year, you all remember? We're talking about wage compression. We're talking about when people apply for those jobs and they see that salary range, even though they see it, right? They're coming in asking for the moon. And you've been sitting there for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years. They coming in making 10, 20, 30, $40,000 more than you. The key thing he said, you all, although the law says we have to post the salary range, they didn't tell us how much. Let me show you this. Let me find it. Let me find it. In good faith, right? That's what he said. He said posting it in good faith. And I'm going to show this to you so you're not, it's not a Kelly said, this is what they're saying, employers. Let me show you. We're talking about wage compression and why people are coming in off the streets making more. How can they do that? That's not what the salary band says when I got into the job. Employers, check it out. This is important. Employers can still pay above or below what's listed. So we're thinking, look, you got to post a salary. California, Denver, others. But there's always a loophole, y'all. Employers can still pay above or below what's listed. While employers must list salary ranges for every job posting, it's still possible that they could end up paying the final candidate above or below. Y'all see it, it's right here. What's advertised. Here's what the law says. The law does not say anything that would prohibit the employer from, at some point in the process, concluding they need to change the compensation. If in fact, along the way, you've interviewed, you've pre-screened, you're on the first round, you're on the second round, third round. Oh my gosh, Teresa, she is the bomb. We got to pay her more. Oh my gosh, Clifford does not have the skills that we need. We're going to pay him. We can pay him less than what the salary range says. But in your mind, you're thinking about leaving your current job based off of the salary range. You went ahead and applied because of the salary range. If in fact, along the way, there's a legitimate, non-discriminatory business reason to change the pay, here it is, y'all. The employer is free to do that under this law. This is the law that's called the transparency law. They have to share the salary range. But this law also says, listen, they're free to put whatever they want on there. They can put $100 to $500. For example, the business could realize the scope of the job falls into a lower level and lower paying range. On the flip side, a standout candidate could negotiate or be offered a starting salary above what was previously listed. Now, there is some protection though. There are some parameters, and it says employers should make sure any such instances are an outlier and not part of a pattern. So saying if they continue to do this, then something up, then y'all gotta chill out because this ain't cool. What we think about that? Hey, check out. Hey, Lindsay said, I've seen those a lot lately. Aren't they rapid? They're out there. They're out there. Derek said, what kind? I knew Derek he is like the scholar, y'all. I know what constitutes good faith on their part, and can we verify? We don't know what their budget is. It's almost like saying, you know, I'm gonna put forth good faith. Like when you get ready to buy your house, and you put the good in, you know, you put it in that good faith and good earnest money. Good, you know, in good faith, we're gonna post this salary range. So potentially we may pay you somewhere in between here. Maybe. Let's see how you do in the interview. Thomas says sometimes a wide range based on experience level. Janelle said in recruiting, we always posted the salary, which varied depending on where the candidate was located. I don't even like that, Janelle, though, to be honest, because we're working remote. I could be in Alaska and still recruit. Right? And if I'm in California and I'm working here, Coca-Cola's here in Atlanta. Right? And so I want to look, to your point, Derek, I want to look at the salary range. This is what they posted. Now, I will say, for the most part, employers do put what the range is for the role, for the most part. But we've all seen that wide range, and we've all asked, why is it so wide? Like Susan would say, yeah, I've seen it. Right? So what should we do? And Janelle just gave us a clue. Janelle said, listen, y'all, we do this. This is what we do. It's based on where we're located, on where the candidate's located sometimes. So if you go in, I remember this guy did, he was sharp. I mean, he was on point. He knew where he lived, what the cost of living was. There's a difference between the cost of living and cost of goods. He knew exactly what his skill and his education in the market, what that dictated, what he should be able to get. I'm sharing this, right, so that you'll know, just because it's out there, y'all remember the good faith. You saw it here. So you have to know going in what you want. And you do your research in the market. We're talking about solutions, and we're talking about how do we combat this? Somebody off of the street coming in, sitting right next to me, next to the cubicle next to me, making $10,000, $20,000 more. We're doing the same thing. I work the same thing. They doing their research, right? They know now what the industry and what the market is saying is the industry standard. Now, the other thing to think about is even internally, right? And I'm sure Janelle can speak to this as well about internal equity. I remember a guy, and it was really sad. It was really sad. I remember we all got like a title. We got a new title and we got increase. He didn't. And he even started before I did, and 2 others. It's just that our boss didn't like him. There was no reason for that man not to have gotten an increase. And he went to HR, he complained and all the thing. I mean, it took a couple years, but it happens. And I'm sure that there are companies, a lot of them, that have the internal equity challenges as well. Maybe the compensation bands haven't been updated in years. Janelle said, for example, one position could pay higher for a candidate in California versus someone living in Iowa. That's true. That's very true. And I can see that. I can see the reason why from the perspective of an employer. I get that. I do get that. Derek says, good faith on the employer's behalf sounds like every horror movie. I'm hearing I'll be right back on the Freddie. Yeah, it is. It's. I think it's horrible that they get to choose. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, yeah. The law said we got to put something out here, so we'll put something out here because we following the law, right? But if Janelle come in here and she's super, she on top of it, we don't go, higher than the range. Well, in that case, Susan would apply. If she knew y'all was paying 150, she thought y'all was just paying up to 125, like the range said on the job description. Had she known, she would have applied. So that's why when I say you know your number, you do your research, you know what your skills, and if you don't, you should know what your skills, right, can get in the market right now. If you've had the same title for 7 years, you've been at the same employer for 7 years, and you haven't gotten an increase, have you even looked out there to see in the market? There's all kind of, I have a salary calculator that I give for free. You look on my little link thing, wherever we're connected at, and it'll tell you where you live, what the market is paying, what you do, your titles, your skills. It'll give you a number. And you may be shocked. You may be shocked. Just like this lady. Let me show you. You may be shocked. This is what I mean by staying on top of your career, staying on top of what it is that you do and what you know. Check this out. This New York City worker saw her job title advertised at up to $90,000. Y'all, not $9, not 90, not 9,000. $90,000 more than her pay. What to do if this happens? Kimberly, in March, the New York City worker went viral on Twitter when she saw an opening for her job title being advertised with a pay range up to $90,000 higher than her own salary. This 25-year-old CNBC said she earned $85,000 as a contract user experience writer for Citi, but the LinkedIn posting called for a full-time UX writer with a salary of $117,000 to $175,000. She applied for the job, but ultimately the discovery prompted her to start looking for a new one. So it sounds like she didn't get it, but knowing what's out there and what they're offering for her role, she's like, okay, wait a minute. Is this what they paid for what I'm doing? And all she did, y'all, was go out there and what? She looked. As you can see here, salary transparency laws across the country in effect for Colorado, New York City, California, and other areas. All she did was look. How many of us have done that? How many of us have just looked, even if we're not looking for an opportunity? What are they paying in other companies? Elizabeth says that can have a negative effect on the morale. Absolutely. It has. It has. Absolutely. Absolutely. Susan said, is it wrong to ask them what the range is for? No, you should. Absolutely. Absolutely, Susan. It is. You have to. You want to know. You want to know. You want to know what the range is. Right? Tom said, some same as salaries in high rent cities like DC. Yeah, that's true. And DC is known for being high, like New York and California, like Janelle was saying. Lesson said pay range based on location sounds discriminatory and price. I don't know. For some reason, I can't wrap my head around that. Like, I get it because I did it. I understand that. I know. I totally understand it. But I'm thinking about now. Think about right now. That should have changed. Why are employers still doing that? I know people working from in Russia for AT&T. You know what I'm saying? Like how? Like that's the. I just can't. Y'all help me. I can't wrap my mind around. I get it. I understand the different regions and the cost of living. I understand that. But how can you dictate what you're going to pay somebody? I just think it should be based off skills. I could be wrong. It won't be the first time. Derek said another perspective of employers is from the complacent employees versus upwardly mobile. What overall potential value does this person have? So you're saying to base it off of potential value, versus someone who has or is exhibiting their value? Or are you saying someone that's coming in on the out from the off the streets, right? That we don't know what their performance is. We don't know how they work. We don't know how they perform or what skills. Because I remember I told y'all last year we did a topic about high potentials. And people, when they were laying off, and there's this list that every HR has about high potentials and high performers. But these are people that have performed and have proven themselves. Right? And Elizabeth says the problem with leaving for money is the fact it will take longer to be able to build towards retirement. That's true. That's very true. And everybody's goals are different. Everybody's goals. Some can leave for more money if they don't see themselves making the money that they know that they're going to need for the future. And here's I think it's the truth. The fact is, you're not going to become wealthy working. Just how many of us have seen our parents work and just got wealthy? They may have been comfortable or stable, right? So going somewhere to increase your salary, to increase your financial future, it may be some people's best option. Tivia said, I constantly check. I encourage you all just to see. I talked to a lady, what was it, Monday? Yeah, no, yesterday, right? Yeah, Monday. And we went out there and we looked at different titles. And some of the titles never heard of, never ever heard of before. But they did the work that she's doing right now. And they paid a heck of a lot more. But if you don't look, you don't know. You could be sitting there doing your job and not knowing the market is paying just like that lady, $90,000 more, and you do the same work. But I know what Elizabeth is saying. Like, I have to build my money for the future. So I don't know if I want to make a move or not. Robin said, when my current role asked in the application stage for salary requirement, I put the highest number of the range. I was confident enough to do so because of, don't make me cry. Look at that, y'all. Y'all know y'all know how we roll in here. I can't even get my words together. There you go, girl. There you go. There you go. What y'all doing, IG? What y'all doing? Derek said, I check salaries whenever possible. The problem is being comparable between regions. True. That's true, because you can only go on what they put out there, right? But if you go to a pay scale, like that was on that article I shared with you, I think it's payscale.com. You can also go to Glassdoor. I have a salary calculator in my bio thing. Just download it. Thomas said it is based on skills. The cost of living part draws the top talent. That's true. But, thinking about, I remember this guy came in. Oh, it was a horrible situation. Our boss was out on sick leave, and her boss went and hired this guy, came in, contractor. We like, what's going on? They made, long story short, he ended up becoming our manager, and he couldn't even attach a document in an email. Literally had to go to his computer and show him how to attach a document to an email. And he literally made about $50,000 more than me. Literally. We didn't get asked. The job wasn't posted. And I know y'all have dealt with this as well. We're talking about pay compression, y'all. Wage compression. How do you feel somebody come in off the street? I'll tell you another incident. We were sitting in a meeting, and we had different hubs in different locations, and one of them was in California. And on the screen, you can see, how the team sitting around the table in California, whatever. And one guy, when somebody pop up to speak, they come to the screen, right? And his title was different. And I remember looking at my friend, and I'm like, and she looked at, when did his title change? When was the job posted? We talk about pay compression, y'all. We talk about wage compression, y'all. Things just happen. How many of us are having conversations when we see something that's not fair or equitable? Because people talk. People talk. Thomas said, wow. Derek said, an internal posting may be provided for current and tenured employees, but they may decide to hire externally and pay more, even with similar education experience. But make it make sense. I'm with you. I'm with you. And y'all know a trick? This is a trick. Some people, and I think Elizabeth, this is what you were saying, about thinking about leaving. It may be difficult for some because of thinking about their financial future. But here's a trick that people do. They'll leave and come back and get more. I've seen it happen. They left the current job that they were in. It was two of them. T, if she's still on here, she may know who I'm talking about. They left the current job, came back 6 months later, got $20,000 more. That's the quiet hierarchy. There you go. That's it. That's it. So what can we do, y'all? We want to talk about solutions. We know there's problems. We know employers, now we know, right, about good faith. They don't necessarily have to tell us the truth about what the pay range is, right? Our Wood over here on IG said, I did it too. See, they do that. They do that, don't they? Yeah. Janelle said, we actually started that back in December. I'd never seen that before working there. Yeah, it happens. So listen, you can figure out, the first thing I would want to know, right? If I was in that situation, is what does the industry, my industry, currently pay in the market today? I started 7 years ago. And I may or may not have gotten a 2% raise or 2.5% raise throughout those 7 years each year. Let me see what's out there and what they're paying. And here's the other thing, you all. And I was talking about my current client. We looked at these titles. We didn't even know these existed, right? She's in the healthcare field. I didn't know anything about the role. But when we started digging, we saw all of these titles. And if you go to attractopportunities.com, I just did a new training, and I'm showing you the method that I went through. But there's these different titles out there, y'all. And they're I talk about this in the training. They're relevant now. Let me see. What I'm saying is, your current title, if you've had it for some time, you may want to go out to the market and see if there's any other titles that align to what you do now. That's what I'm saying. And if so, look at the scope of work. Is it currently what you're doing? Does it have the skill set that you currently have, right? And then what is it paying? And if you say, well, Kelly, they're not a company that puts it on there, go to Glassdoor, go to salary.com, or go to PayScale. I think it's payscale.com. And from there, you can put your title in, and it'll give you different titles in the marketplace. You just want to see. I just want to see. Tom said, in a litigation support situation, you can hire people with various educational backgrounds. Okay. Elizabeth said that can be a future class, negotiating salaries. Yes. I have a lot of information. By the way, I just created a Patreon if y'all want to check that out. And I'm going to be putting in there. I already put a bunch of stuff in there. If you want to check it out, you can. Let me drop the link in there, because I can put, now that Elizabeth said that, that's something that I could put in there. Salary information. Negotiating salary. But tonight I really wanted to talk about, because I know people look at the salary ranges on job descriptions, and you may apply and you may not apply based off the salary range. And like Susan was saying earlier, yeah, I've seen that before. The ranges are wide and it doesn't make any sense. Just know that an employer, all they have to do is in good faith, post some numbers in good faith. Right? Now, if you're currently in a situation where it's someone on the inside, internally, a coworker that you're working with, and let's say they got, I don't know, an increase, and you all do the same work. One of the things you want to be able to do is you want to be able to, well, let me back up. You want to do research, like I said, about the work that you're doing. You have to be able to speak to the value that you brought to an organization. We've talked about this before as well. And then you want to be able to schedule time with your manager or the person that you report to and talk about the value that you brought to the organization. Some of the achievements also that you brought to the organization, because sometimes they don't know, y'all. If you have a manager that has 18, 25, 30 people, even 10 direct reports, if you're not advocating for yourself, sometimes they don't know what you've done. They just expect you to do the work. That's what you're there for. They just expect you to do the work. But if you're not advocating and sharing what you've done, there are occasions when they don't know. And some people might say, well, they should know. They should know what I do. No, you should advocate for yourself. And if you're having check-ins, I know some may have weekly check-ins or quarterly or monthly check-ins. That's an opportunity for you to share the outcomes, share what you got involved in, share what happened as a result, share the value in it. If it did decrease something or increase something, specifically time or money. I was able to decrease time in XYZ. I was able to increase sales in XYZ or increase revenue in XYZ. I streamlined this process and it saves us X amount of time. So when it comes to your performance review, you can remind them when you and I met, we had our one-on-one back in November. I shared with you that I did XYZ. And you have documented each time you meet, and you're writing down what you're going to share in that meeting, and you're keeping that for when it comes to your annual review. You can share all of these things. Why am I just getting a 1%? This actual process is still in play, and I created this or initiate this or organize this back in 2021. You have to advocate for yourself. Elizabeth said, is it safe to ask for a work audit in your current position to ask for more money, or will that move work in the opposite and decrease your salary? I love that, a work audit. I love that. I love that, Elizabeth. I believe so. Yes, I would definitely ask. I love that. I love that. I love that. And because I tell you, we used to have a repository of job descriptions that we would use year after year after year after year. They were so old and antiquated. We had this one title. I'd be thinking so fast, I'm trying to get it out. We had this one title called a system specialist. It's called a system specialist. We would post it, and we would get this many job applicants. And we're like, nobody's applying. And the hiring managers would be mad, and like recruiting ain't moving fast enough. They don't know what the heck that is. What does that mean? It wasn't an industry standard title. It wasn't a title that was in the marketplace. Right? It would take a candidate, look at that title, and then go further down that job description to really get an idea of what the role entailed. But that was an internal title. Some of us may have an internal title, And we're so accustomed to it, we're not thinking about when we do want to make a transition, when we do want to make a move, when we get out there, I can't find anything. It's no longer called that. That's why. That's why going out there, just take a look once a month. I'm just going to take a look and see what's out there. I'm going to put in my skills, not just my title. I'm going to put in my skills and see what pops up. And then I'm going to read and say, you know what? I can do all of that. I didn't know it was called that. I had no idea. Yes, Elizabeth, I would definitely ask. And also ask about compensation. You know, when is the last time they looked at the band, the salary band? Is that something that you all do? That's a way to put it. Jay said, how do we get around the online application that requires you to put in a salary requirement? It usually will not allow you to advance without filling it out. I put 0. That'll get you through the ATS system. If it's like, if it says like 0 to 10 or 10 to 50 or 50 to whatever, you can just pick one. And I would tell the recruiter that, you know what, I had to pick one, but I didn't know what the job entails. Now that I know, I can give you what the range is for my salary expectations. Because without knowing, I could read the job description, right? But now that I know that I have a dotted line to the VP and I'm directly reporting to the manager and I'm responsible for X, Y, and Z, you know, the job description didn't really spell that out. Now that I'm fully aware and I am clear on what the role entails, I just want to share with you, here are my salary requirements for this position. Janelle said, I've experienced that. Had to train a manager coming in. I was hot. I know. Oh, it was a bunch of us. Oh my gosh. That's like a slap in the face. It is a slap in the face. It's not like it is a slap in the face. You got people that's been there working hard. You just brought somebody in and made them a manager. Tom said, I have improved in that area, communicating and being consistent in process. If you don't advocate for yourselves, you all, and I know it's not something that we're accustomed to doing, I promise you, nobody else is going to do that for you. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, do you want to do this? Would you like to be promoted? A lot of the times you'll be surprised they don't know what you've done or accomplished because you don't say. And we have to get better about that. And I know, like I said, it's not the easiest thing to do. It's easy for me to just say what we should be doing, right? I know it's not the easiest thing to do. And having the language to verbalize your achievements and the value that you bring to an organization, there is a framework for that. And I'm happy if you want to speak about that, we definitely can. But you definitely should be doing that. And you'll be surprised. A lot of times, your manager, the person you report to, they're not aware. They're not aware. And even in meetings, even though it may be uncomfortable, and we've talked about this as well, let your light shine. Let them know. Let them know. Derek said, last employer operated that way. There was a fully detailed job description, but when it came to our evaluation, they didn't utilize the job description. We were evaluated by the task we summarized. Yeah, that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That's why all of these things, you all, oh, you're welcome, Liz. That's why all of this, you are responsible for your career, right? We are responsible for career management, managing our careers and what it is that we want out of this thing called a career. Because you can have what you want. It may not seem as if, but we get whatever we believe. If we believe we can't have it, we're not going to go in there and ask for it. We'll have the mindset of, I've never done that, or I'm nervous, or I'm scared, or they're not going to give it to me. Kelly, you don't know my manager. You just don't know. I don't know, but I do know. If you don't ask, you don't know. I do know that. Jay said, I recently interviewed for an executive position that current staff were highly qualified to obtain. During the interview process, they advised they wanted to change the current culture of the staff. Now I get that. I totally get that. And that I think that's a good look. That's a good move because they recognize something. They recognize something about their culture. And it's going to be a lot of I think Elizabeth was saying about the morale, or maybe it was Derek, about the culture when they bring in someone, right, to try to change it. I went to an event and the CEO of Wells Fargo, I was listening to him. He did a fireside chat. And, you know, they were in the news for doing some really bad things, but he wasn't the CEO at the time. So they changed all of that. They changed leadership. They changed, and they're in the process now of changing that culture. And he said that, well, one of the questions asked to him was, how do you define culture? I thought this was just a brilliant response. I wrote it down. So I might butcher what he said. He said, how do you define culture? He said, culture is defined by the worst behavior that you allow. I thought that was brilliant. I just really thought that was brilliant. And he said, you'd be surprised. He said, right now, some of my direct reports, this is the residue from that old culture that they had. He said, you'll be surprised. Some of my direct reports still don't want to change. He said, as a matter of fact, one of my direct reports said, and this was in response to having a diversified talent pool, right? He said, you are putting me at a disadvantage by making me interview diverse candidates. He said, no. He said, the problem is you've always had an advantage. Oh, y'all, we went up in an uproar. We stood on our feet. We was hollering because that was good. He said, no, that's not true. He said, the problem is you've always had an advantage. He couldn't say nothing. I wrote that down. I wrote that down too. Because I deal with clients, right? In my agency. And when I talk about diversifying the talent pool, I find that I'm educating. But I thought that was you made me think about that, Jay, when you were talking about the culture. Lady Lowe said, my previous job, the HR director wanted me to start recruiting, but didn't want to give me more. Girl, see? Why they do that? Why do they do? Like Janelle was talking about last week, wearing all 4 of them hats. That's why I said it, Janelle, because I know you do. I know you do. I know you do. Good for you, though, Lady Lowe. Good for you. Good for you. Now, now, Lady Lowe, you got to get some more money, though. Because once you start doing it, it's just going to become a part of your job. Because they're trying to, you know what they say, get blood out of a turnip. We're trying to get more lean. We just want to, they want you to feel as though you're lucky you have a job. No, you're lucky you got me. That's what that is. Elizabeth said, I wrote a book for my review and I got exceptional. See there? Y'all see, proof is proof. Elizabeth is showing us when you advocate for yourself. She said she wrote a book. She said she wrote a book. Listen, she got exceptional. Y'all know, Janelle, Lady Lowe, it's hard for folks to get an exceptional. You get a meets, what is it, y'all? Meets requirement. But an exceptional? Go ahead, Elizabeth. Go ahead, girl. Oh no, you became the problem child just because you didn't want to take on more responsibility and they don't want to pay you for it. You see how they do? You see how they do. You take that skill though, Lady Lowe, and now you leverage that skill and you go use that skill to make you some more money. Because sometimes we have to think about, all right, I'm gonna be here for a minute. Like I think Elizabeth was saying, I'll be here for a minute. Because I got my retirement, I got all this stuff. But I'm gonna get this skill, but I'm gonna start looking because now I can recruit. I know how to do it now. And I know they pay X, Y, and Z because I've been out there looking. Take that skill. You always get something. You never lose. You're never rejected. You never, You're never that. You either learn or you win. Either one. We never are rejected. We never lose, y'all. We either learn or we win. That's it. If they don't want us, you know what? Your loss. It wasn't meant for me. Thank you, God, for divine protection. Because I learned now, I just keep going. I'm just next in line. I just moved up in the line. When you're standing in the Starbucks line in your car, you just move up. Somebody else, right? That's how we got to think about it. We learn or we win. That's it. That's it.